Hi and welcome back to Arno TV. I'm your lovable host Arno, coming back to you with another video. Now in today's video I'm going to talk to you about my concerns. I've talked recently about my concerns about a lot of these crazy new measures that have come in as a result of this pandemic. Now I've also recently talked about things like I was concerned about the police were going to be monitoring people if they were ill and all those kind of rules that have been brought in. Now I want to just make a few points here that demonstrate some of the concerns that I have and how the police are choosing to enforce these rules over some people and not over others. Now I've had 3 separate stories that I've heard this week from colleagues from work that relate to these kind of things. Now the first story, a friend who I work with, a family who he knows had come back from a holiday abroad, and they'd had the police turn up at their house to make sure that they were quarantining and that they were isolating. Now the lady apparently was quite shocked and scared when the police turned up, understandably, and the police apparently, or allegedly, made this lady get her husband out of the bath to present himself at the window so the police could establish that he was in the house and that was self-isolating. Now a second colleague told me a similar story to this about another family who'd had this kind of thing happen to them, where the police had turned up at their house and this time had made an entire family present themselves to the police to make sure that they were isolating and quarantining after coming back into the country from abroad, right? Now that's all. It's amazing, isn't it, that the police have the resources to turn up at Joe Public's house and check on them. Now we've seen in the media this week that it's alleged that Tony Blair is guilty of the same, is guilty of breaking this rule. Now he apparently, or allegedly, came back from America in the last couple of weeks, and allegedly within 10 days he's pictured in a London restaurant with friends having dinner. Now what I want to know is, did the police turn up at Tony Blair's house? Did the police follow any of this up? Because I bet they didn't. I bet they didn't. Yeah, so, you know, Tony Blair, Honest Tony, you know, weapons of mass destruction Tony, yeah, that Tony who told us all that, you know, Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction, that guy, yeah, we all remember him. You know, I wonder if the police have turned up at his house, because I bet they haven't. You know, I had a third colleague tell me that someone who he knew gave a lift home from work to a colleague, and the police pulled them because there were more than 2 people in the car, and they wanted to know if they were residing at the same address, and they weren't, and the driver and I believe the other guy as well got fined. Now do we see these kind of draconian measures and this kind of enforcement on the media class out there and the politicians? No, we don't, do we? As I've been over this, you know, before, we've seen so many examples of this. I mean, you know, we've mentioned Margaret Ferrier, who deemed it appropriate after having a test for COVID to, you know, travel to the Houses of Parliament on a public train. Then after finding out that she was positive, travelling all the way back to Scotland on a public train before announcing to her party that she tested positive for COVID. Now, has anything happened to her? No, it hasn't. The police haven't prosecuted her, and the excuse that she gave people, the excuse she gave was her brain was clouded by COVID, and she got away with it. She's not lost her job, she's refusing to resign, okay? Now, let's think about other people that have broken the rules. How about Neil Ferguson, the guy that took this country into a lockdown in March? Didn't he resign because he couldn't follow the rules, and he went to see his lover, his mistress or something? You know, you know, did he get prosecuted? Did he? No, he didn't, did he? No, nothing happened. So, you know, these are my concerns that I have in all of this, because there's a 2-tier system going on here. There'll be a system that we all have to live under, and those rules will be enforced over us vigorously. You can guarantee that. I mean, as in the video that I did last Sunday on when I, did the video on the police being given powers to monitoring people who tested positive for COVID. My concerns there. Did the police follow any of this up with these people? No, they didn't, did they? So we are seeing a two-tier system, and the police, they did say, didn't they, that they prosecute people on a case-by-case basis. And what did I say? Just remember what cases they prosecute and what cases they don't. And we can see here which cases they're choosing to follow up and make sure that these kind of rules are enforced, and what ones that they're not doing anything about. Now, isn't that strange that they don't do anything to the politicians and the media class out there? So all I'm saying, people, is all of us need to start opening our eyes to what's going on, because we have our politicians behaving like there's no other issue going on in this country other than the pandemic, and this has been repeated all the way across the world. So we all have to start asking ourselves, what on earth is going on? Because they're crashing all the economies around the world. What is going to happen? What is the end game here? Because, I don't know. I'm not an expert. But one thing I am sure of is we all need to be questioning these people, because it's going to be us that will live under these rules and they won't. So just remember that. That's all I'm saying. So if you've enjoyed this video and you want to see more, then please like the channel and subscribe to the channel. Feel free to leave any comments you want. I'll be back soon with some more videos for you, but until then, you stay safe, take care, and stay rock and roll.